I'm going to begin going over the second problem. Again, I will find the statement that, the goal of this proof, which is to prove that AB, the top side here, is the same length as CD, which is the bottom. Just as in the last proof, I'm going to ask that you keep your pens and pencils down. You can write after you watch the video. It will encourage you not to copy, but rather to see if you understand it. We're going to go through a similar process whereby we prove triangles congruent first. After we have proven triangles are congruent, we will show the pieces are the same. Through CP/CTC. And then we can end with our statement. In the first video, it was to prove that an angle got bisected. In this case, it only asks us to show that pieces are the same, so we will end on step 2. There is no further statement that we will have to make for this proof. The first issue that would arise with this proof is we would notice that there are no triangles drawn here. However, it looks very similar to several other things that I'm sure you have seen, with the exception of this line that is lacking. You could draw that line in there and you could have two triangles, one on top and one on bottom, or you could choose, if you prefer, to connect B and D. And you would have one triangle again on top and bottom. It does not matter. It is up to you. You simply need to make a choice and go from there. I am going to choose to connect A and C. It was irrelevant. You could have chosen the other thing. I'm going to start with my givens. The first thing they tell me is that AD is parallel to B and C. I mark this with arrows, not with the dashes. This means something very different than congruence. I've had students attempt to count this as a side when they are trying to state the triangles are congruent. So they would say, oh, side, and then they have some other angle and then a side. But this does not count. Having an arrow does not count as having a congruent piece. It must have the dash for congruence, not an arrow. So the first thing I know is that AD is parallel to BC. And that was given to me. What I should do from there, if I'm given a statement that does not say pieces are the same, I should be asking myself which pieces can I say are the same because of this. With parallel lines, I should always be looking for some set of angles. Those would either be alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, something of that nature. I must choose the same transversal. It will be very common for students to say something like B and D are the same because they are on the parallel lines. And while it is true that this angle B is touching the parallel line on the right, and angle D is touching the one on the left, they are on different transversals. D is on the bottom transversal DC, and angle B is on the top transversal AB, so I cannot use that as a parallel set of alternate interior or corresponding because they are on different transversals. That does not work. The angle set that I want to choose will be on this black connecting transversal that I drew, and it will touch the green parallel line that I have dashed and the one that I have marked with the arrow. These two angles, the one over here is BCA, and the one over here is DAC, are congruent by alternate interior angles. I do have parallel lines, so I can use alternate interior angles to prove angles are the same. The next step, I need to include my second given, was just that AD is the same size as BC. I mark this with a dash. And now, because I have the tick, I can count that as one of my sides and side angle side. I could not have done so with the arrows, but the dash means that the sides are congruent. I can use that. This was also given to me. I need one more piece to prove the triangles are congruent because I have a side and angle, and once again I have a reflexive side in the middle. I'm I'm going to say that AC is congruent to AC by the reflexive property. At this point, I have side, angle, side. The two triangles will be congruent to one another. I'm going to go with BCA. And now I need to start being a little more careful. I'm checking what goes with B from the bottom triangle will be D. So since I put B first, I will put D first. Once again, you must be using triangle and angle symbols when you are writing these things, so you will differentiate between them. The next thing I was putting in the top triangle was C. That's the one I marked with the red symbol, so I should go to A in this case. And then finally, C from this piece goes with A from the top. This is congruent by side, angle, side. The first side that I had marked, I put that in step 3. The angles that I have marked are from step 2. And the final side that I had marked was in step 4. I have completed the first part where I proved my triangles are congruent. At this point, I'm just trying to prove that the two sides AB and CD are the same. But since the triangles are the same, the pieces should be the same too, which is what CPCTC tells us. I just need to make sure that they are in the same place. AB are the first and the last. CD are the first and the last. They do go together, therefore they should be the same because the triangles are the same. I can say that AB is congruent to CD by CPCTC, and I have completed the proof.